down, down. Flame gets higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Dennis Joseph Hendershot was born July 8, 1942. He was raised by Jerome and Mary Hendershot. Dennis grew up with his twin brother David, Ed, Tom, Mary Beth, and Maureen. He grew up on Hendershot Street, which was named after his great-grandfather, and also where his family owned an apple orchard. The Hendershot house is still standing today, occupied by his nephew and his family.
I first met my husband kind of in a roundabout way when his sister in our 8th grade had a hayride party for us. And of course, us young 8th graders seeing these boys, and we kind of thought they were kind of cute. And we were all talking about maybe hooking up with them sometime. Well, as time went on, we didn't see each other anymore. But then I was at my foster parents' home one day and getting my hair done because my foster mother's a beautician, and this gal came in. And she looked at me and I looked at her, and we knew each other. Anyway, she was Maureen Hendershot, who had the hayride in our 8th grade. Well, we got to talking and everything, and probably a week later, she called and asked if I would be interested in going on a blind date with her brother Denny. And of course I said yes. And we went to a show. The theater is no longer there. The Civic Theater is there now. The name of the show at the time was the Savoy Show. We kind of walked out on them, I think. We weren't having a very good time. But came home, maybe a month or so passed, and we went out again, and I don't know, we just kind of clicked and started dating each other, and about went with each other for maybe a year and got engaged and was married. And had our first child 13 months after our marriage, and the next baby arrived 13 months after that.
Dennis and Mary raised 6 beautiful girls: Cheryl, Karen, Deborah, Barbara, Kimberly, and Pamela. Later on, Dennis and Mary welcomed 23 grandchildren to their family, 3 of which have passed away.
Driving down Clovercrest, the first house that Mom and Dad actually purchased together. They just came from an apartment where Cheryl was born, the oldest, and now we're at 1394 Clovercrest. It is a ranch house. It has 3 bedrooms. Cheryl, Karen, Barbie, and Debbie were all born in this house and have some great memories, one being Cheryl losing her glasses and having to find her glasses. We couldn't go on vacation until she found her glasses. And lo and behold, in a wheelbarrow eating watermelon, we found her glasses. So yeah, a lot of memories were in this house. We probably lived here for probably a total of 20 years. And then we moved just up the street to 1349 Clovercrest, which was a 2-story house. And that is where Kimmy and Pammy were actually born. And Mom and Dad lived a total of just about 38, 39 years before they moved into their condo, because the girls wanted them to have, the house was too big for just the 2 of them and too much upkeep. So they purchased a condo the year that Dad was diagnosed with cancer.
My husband worked at a furniture factory. This was before we were married, so I'm not sure what the name of the furniture factory was. Then got a job at Dykema Excavating, which probably lasted a year. That didn't go over very big from what he told me, but this was before our marriage also. Then at 18, he started working at Coit Avenue Gravel, where he completed 45 years. He then retired from there and decided to get a part-time job, which he took over at the airport, shuttling people back and forth to the planes and picking up cars and delivering them and that sort of thing. He worked there for about 1.5 years before his health deteriorated somewhat. My husband's faith was so tremendous. I don't know how to explain it. He just had this faith that nothing would go wrong. Everything was just, it happened because there was a reason, and there was a reason for everything. And God had a reason for no matter what happened. When he was even diagnosed with his cancer, he came back with, why not me? Why someone else? Why am I different than them? We talked about it. And he'd say to me, I'd ask him at night how he felt about it and what his feelings were. And he said, it's what God wants. It is what it is. And I guess that's a good way of feeling that it is what it is. My husband was very much involved with the church, especially with the Knights of Columbus. This was his whole life with the Knights of Columbus. He was in charge of their Tootsie Roll Drive for the mentally impaired. He was in charge of their poker thing at the Lincoln Lanes, getting it all organized and that for fundraiser. He became a fourth degree knight. His one son-in-law became a fourth degree knight, and I think this brought my husband more into it. He had always been into the Knights of Columbus, but I think his son-in-law Rick got him in, and now his other 2 son-in-laws are in. My daughter Barb's husband Mike is now going for the 4th degree. My son-in-law Pammy's husband is going for the 4th degree, and I believe I'm pretty sure I heard my daughter Pam say he was going for the color guard. My husband was in the color guard also, and this was his pride and joy. We were given the opportunity of being on the island when the Knights of Columbus met from all over the world, and he snuck in with my son-in-law and got in somehow on the Living Rosary. And I don't know if any of you know what the Living Rosary is, but it's something just so beautiful. And it's all the knights, different Knights of Columbus men, and they stand and they make the rosary, the whole rosary, and they hold balloons. And when different family members come up and announce the rosary, they let the balloons go. And this, my husband talked about so many times afterwards. His faith, just, if I could have half the faith that he had, I will count myself very lucky.
August 14, 2013, Dennis was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. He fought a hard 8 months until the mass was unmeasurable. March 7th, his CAT scan came back, revealing a spot on his brain. Because of his weakened health, he didn't want to go forth with any further treatments. Later on, hospice was introduced for care and comfort. On March 15th, his health was declining noticeably. Family and friends surrounded him with love, care, and good memories. March 17th, 2014, 6:30 in the morning, Dennis Joseph Hendershot went to rest after a long, hard battle of lung cancer. Family and friends gathered March 21st for a final farewell.
He was a super husband, a wonderful dad, and a great grandfather. He loved his girls unconditionally. My girls were his life. He enjoyed them, and I know they spoiled him, and I know he loved it.
And now a moment of silence for a fallen knight in shining armor, please.
And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold
that sticks in my head is just being really thankful to get the glimpse of heaven. Like when Dad said it's so beautiful and wonderful, and he said he couldn't even describe it.
I don't think I've ever been here before, he said. Yeah. When he said it like that, you knew that it was somewhere that we've never seen. We knew right where he was. And how he would keep pointing at the wall, a certain spot. You see the light. He was eating his apple pie, playing his baseball, and talking to Cousin Al. And he just kept saying, wanting to know that his family was going to be okay.
And we assured him that we were going to be okay.
And that Mom was going to be okay.
Over again. And he
And he checked
us
himself
a
in.
Yeah, kept giving us a countdown, half an hour. Half an hour, then 20 minutes.
What time is it?
Yeah.
I'll get my blessings tomorrow.
And that was St. Patrick's Day.
Something I thought was really neat too was he wasn't really talking that clearly or that great, but he started the Our Father,
I know.
and then the Hail Mary, and then the Glory Be, and you could, if you weren't listening closer, you could barely tell that's what he was trying to do, but it was pretty powerful to see his body getting so weak, but his soul just being so strong. So.
And that we all knew that that's what he was leading us in, and that he just, it wasn't just the Our Father. After we were done with that, he wasn't done yet.
Yeah.
I mean, he just went right to the next prayer, and, I think that meant a lot to him to be able to lead us in prayer one last time. And, each time it was like, is it our last time? No, it doesn't. And you just wanted to say it so bad for him, and for him even, because he was struggling so hard sometimes saying it. But, and it was it Saturday or whatever when we were saying the rosary, and he was so strong in saying that rosary, and then, I don't know, was it Sunday, and it was just like, just to see him, and he wasn't even saying the rosary. I mean, it was just like, and he would have been if he could have, and it was...
And when we kept trying to tell him that one morning, or one day, that Saturday, I think, when he wasn't talking at all, was it?
Saturday.
You try to open his eyes, you could just see him trying to do it, to dance, and his feet would keep moving every time we'd ask him to keep.
And when he would open his eyes too, he'd look around the room to make sure we were all still here with him.
And doing the smoochies.
Yeah. Yep.
Give me a kiss.
Yeah. That night that he wasn't talking, when I was in here for my stretch through the night, it was just the two of us awake, and I kept talking to him, and I'd say, Dad, are you sleeping now, or are you still listening? And he'd keep raising his eyebrows up every single time I asked him that, like he was letting me know, even though he wasn't able to talk, that he was still listening.
That was hard.
And when he looked at us all and he said goodbye, when he motioned his
I
hand to
know.
all of us.
I know. It was almost like it was a different person altogether. It was like he was just so innocent and so, childlike almost, like it was somebody different, but it was still Dad talking to us. Mm-hmm. It was just I think he talked more to us in those last couple days than he's talked to us, personally like that in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think that was important for him to be able to say some of those things and to have closure.